Hello, it's me, Emily, again, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am going to be talking about all the lovely books in this little basket I read this month. So my reading month, this past month was kind of so-so. I read 20 total books, which does sound like a very large number. However, I only read 2 of them physically, and possibly a third one if I do finish The Hidden Oracle before the end of the month. I'm over halfway through now and there's still a couple days left, so hopefully I finish it. And then I've listened to 6 audiobooks and read 11 mangas. I just was having trouble reading this month. I had a lot of issues with my migraines flaring up, so I went like a week straight with nonstop migraines, which really put a damper in my reading moods. And with that and just work and all that, I just didn't read as much as I probably should have, but at least I did get my manga TBR down a bunch because it was getting out of hand. But other than that, let's just get into what I've read this month and just a brief overview of what I thought of the book and how much I rated it and all that. So the first book I'm going to talk about is the first volume of Yona of the Dawn. I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. I've read it before online. I read the free scanlations, and I'm in the process of rereading the series with like the correct English translations. And I really enjoyed it. Love the artwork. Very beautiful story. And of course, I'm going to continue on with the rest of the volume. Next, I'm going to talk about Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I listened to this on audio. It was an okay read. I mean, yes, it's contemporary romance, not a genre I typically read. I do lean more towards fantasy. I unfortunately only ended up giving this book 3 stars out of 5. I just thought some of the stuff said was very just like cringeworthy with what's some of the phrases that came out of the character's mouth. I was literally cringing, so I had to bump it down a star because of that. But I did thoroughly enjoy this. Probably won't ever reread it again, but hey, I read it and I tried out this author. Not sure if I'll read more of her work yet or not. So I read the 3rd volume of Monster and the Beast by Renji. Really love this series. I'm enjoying the direction it's going in. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars and definitely will be continuing on with this manga. Listened to Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris. I'm going to say wasn't very impressed with it. I only gave this book 2 stars. It's just some of the stuff that was said was very cringeworthy and borderline racist. So I know this was written in the early 2000s. It's just this book has not aged well at all, and I'm surprised it even was allowed to be published back then too, which is the way that some of the stuff was said. And I just didn't really much care for it, and I'm probably going to end up unhauling this and not continuing on with the series. I physically read Queenslayer, which is the 5th book in the Spellslinger series. Really enjoyed this. Thought this book was amazing. 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to get on with the conclusion, Crownbreaker. So looking forward to continuing on with the series. So I went on a Seraph of the End reading spree and read volumes 5 through 10. Really enjoyed the series as a whole. I believe I gave like the lowest of these was like 4 stars, or pretty much they all got 5 stars. I was really loving the direction of this series, and I am definitely continuing on to see how this story continues on because it's starting to get really interesting. So I ended up breaking out of my comfort zone this month and listened to Midnight in Chernobyl. I don't typically read nonfiction books. So this was an interesting book because in my history classes we really didn't touch much on this event in history, because by the time we got to the 80s and stuff, it was like near the end of the year, so we were trying to get ready for exams and stuff, so it was just kind of a breeze, like this happened here, this happened there. So being able to have a detailed recollection of everything leading up to the events and how the government of Russia responded to it, how stuff was kind of thrown under or scooted aside until it was revealed later on in the road. It was pretty interesting just seeing how all this happened and everything like that. And I did end up giving this book 3 stars. I mean, it was kind of middle of the road. I probably won't ever read it again. I read it once, remembered it. It's nonfiction. It's not something like, oh, I'm going to read this over and over again, because it's just nonfiction. It's not much of a story to it. But other than that, good read, and I would recommend it to any history buffs out there. Next, I listened to The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Unfortunately, I didn't really enjoy this book that much. I only gave it like 3 stars. I don't know if it was because I listened to it and the narrator wasn't that good. It kind of made the book go downhill, or it just was very hard to follow. I do plan on continuing on with the series. I just didn't care much for the way the first one started out, but I am kind of interested to see if the series picks up from there. Another book I'm going to talk about is Gravitations, Volume 5 and 6. This, it's a series I am rereading. I read it back when I was younger. It hasn't exactly aged the best, but I'm still determined to finish the series. I unfortunately only gave this like 2 stars, but I guess, you know, stuff from the 90s just doesn't age as well as what we read today. So a lot of stuff here is really cheesy and cliche. I mean, it's still, you know, something I grew up with, so it's nice to like reread it, but I guess it is kind of hard to continue on with the series. So I did continue on with the next 2 omnibuses of Bleach with volumes 28 through 33. I believe I gave this one 4 stars, and unfortunately this one only got 3 stars just because I felt like it drug a little in the latter half of the volume 33. I am still planning on finishing off the rest of the Bleach series because I've never actually read the manga in its entirety. I've watched all of the anime and even saw the movies. It's just, you know, the anime never finished off with the series. So I'm kind of interested to see how the series wraps up. I have heard that the writing does go downhill in consistency later on, so I am aware of that. I'm hoping it doesn't end up disappointing me, but we'll see, and I'm going to continue on with the series as a whole. Another book I read this past month was George Orwell's 1984. This has been on my list for a while, and it's also on my list of 12 books I plan on reading before the end of the year. This book, it was kind of frightening because we saw, you know, inside the minds of a socialist style country and how media can control historical events and people's thoughts and actions. So it was kind of terrifying seeing that possibility. I did end up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. I thought the first half really started out strong, but the second half wasn't as strong, but maybe it's because all the crappy stuff happened in the second half, so it just didn't read as well. But still thoroughly enjoyed this book. I'm glad to say that I finally got around to reading this classic. I'm probably late to the game, but did enjoy this. I'm not sure if I love this one more than Animal Farm, because I really did enjoy reading Animal Farm back in high school, but it's still a good read. So another book I listened to this month on audio was Anxious People. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed the story and loved seeing all the different sides of the characters. I mean, I did find some of the stuff that was done here was a little unbelievable, but it was still a good book overall. It's just the reality factor wasn't the best, considering it was like contemporary, but I still did enjoy it. So I did read Griffin and Sabine. This is actually on one of my separate challenge books of reading the top like New York Times bestsellers that were top of the list on the day I was born back in 1994. This is kind of a mixed media book where we're following letters and postcards being published from 2 people in different places in the world. I mean, it's really beautiful artwork here, and then there's letters inside of here that you take out and read like that. I just don't feel like taking it all out and unfolding it. I mean, I thought this was an okay read. It did kind of just stop. Like, it just ended, I felt, ended way too abruptly. And I think it's a good concept and stuff. Today, you know, people don't really write by letter, so I couldn't really relate to it that much because I grew up in the time when email and stuff were like a thing where, you know, first of the 21st century, everything was converting over to emails and stuff, so you emailed people, you didn't write letters, and now everybody just texts each other or like social media and all that, but it was an alright read. I do see that there are more books to this series. However, I probably won't pick them up. It's just something nice, interesting to get out of my comfort zone, but not something I'm actively going to pursue completing the series. So the last book I'm going to talk about today is Thunderhead by Neil Schusterman. It's the second book, and I believe it's the Arc of Sights. What the series called? It's a trilogy. So I was reluctant to continue on with the series because it is young adult, and I found myself finding a lot of young adult reads to be misses for me lately, so I was a little reluctant to continue on. So I left this book sitting on my shelf for like over a year. I'm glad I did pick it up because it's really blew my expectations out of the park. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm excited to see how the series is going to end with the Toll, especially because it did leave on a nice cliffhanger, and I want to see what's going to happen to these characters now. So I am currently reading the first book in The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan, The Hidden Oracle. I am enjoying it. I mean, it is middle grade, so I have kind of outgrown that genre. However, I do remember growing up reading all the Percy Jackson books as they were published back in my latter years of middle school through high school. So it's really great to be continuing on with this series. I just haven't read any Rick Riordan in years, so picking it back up is nice being able to dive into this world. And I hope I am able to finish this book before the end of the month. So filming, it is the 29th, so I do have 2 more days left to get this much read. I mean, it's middle grade, so it does read pretty fast. I mean, I read all of this just yesterday alone, so hopefully I do get this finished tonight or tomorrow, so I can add it to my wrap-up and bring my total up to 21 books. But we'll see. So thank you for watching my video today. I know I kind of breezed through what I thought on the books. I just didn't want to spend 6 hours editing a video, and just wanted to keep everything as brief and concise as possible. That way the whole video isn't me talking about one book, because I have a short attention span. I'm sure other people have short attention spans, and if they want a more in-depth review of a book, I can always do that. I'm not the best at explaining books, so we can try and see if that is a possibility in the future. Just now, I'd rather just do quick, breezy summaries and go on about my day, because I don't have a lot of time to sit down and film. I'm actually filming after I got off work, so I'm still in my work clothes right now. But reading wise, I am happy with what I did this month, though I did hit a bit of a reading slump, which is why I read so many mangas. I just couldn't get into the mood of reading books physically or even listening to them on audio. So hopefully next month I do complete more physical reads, especially because I do have a lot I need to get off my shelves there. So if you did enjoy this video, feel free to click the like and subscribe button down below. Also, feel free to leave comments on your thoughts on the video, or your thoughts on any of the books that I mentioned in this video, if you enjoyed them or didn't like them, because I'm always interested in seeing how people's opinions differ from mine in regards to books that I've read. And I hope to see you guys next time I film something.